Hello everybody, welcome to Sports Federation TV Friday night, and we talk about what's happening in the sport in the Western Cape. This is Sports Federation TV. My name is JP Nordia. I'm standing in for Len Yukta Chetty. As you know by now, Sports Federation TV looks after the sports federations in the Western Cape across all 6 of the districts: the Cape Town area, the Cape Winelands, Eden, West Coast, Central Karoo, Overberg, and of course the West Coast. So 6 districts in the Western Cape. That's, of course, what this badge is about, the Western Cape Provincial Badge. So now when you see somebody who says that they do sport for their province, well, they need to have this badge on. That's what it means to have provincial colours in the Western Cape. Joining me on the show tonight, we'll be speaking to the folks from Lifesaving, coming up in a couple of seconds. I'll be speaking to Nicola de Jager and, of course, Tayla Faulmann. And we'll be speaking to the folks a little bit later about netball, men's netball it is tonight. That'll be very interesting. Darts and athletics. So jam-packed show this evening. Let me introduce you to my first guest this evening, Nicola de Jager, club instructor at Big Bay. Welcome to Sports Federation TV, Nicola.
Thank you for having me, JP.
Yeah, I think we've had a few life-saving folks on, but I think we haven't had any instructors on. So tonight's going to be an interesting conversation.
I hope so.
Yeah, Tayla Faulmann from False Bay. Tayla, you're a provincial athlete yourself. Yes. International superstar, I believe.
Not quite, but maybe one day.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting chatting to you. And Nicola, let's just get started.
Yes.
Big Bay Lifesaving Club. It's one of the bigger clubs in Cape Town, and
That's
you guys must be quite happy with how things are going there.
Yes. No, we've got at the moment we've got 168 lifeguards registered to the club. So, yeah, it's a pretty big club.
What sort of age groups is it? Mixed batch?
Anything from, you have to be 15, so it's 15 up to our oldest master, I think, is about 68. So
yeah.
It's quite a broad span.
All right.
Yeah.
Taylor, how did you get involved?
Well, I've been involved with lifesaving since I was a little one. My cousins joined False Bay when they were about 7 or 8, and I kind of just followed on from them. So I've been with the club for over 15 years now. It's been a pretty big part of my life.
Now, where's the False Bay club situated?
So we're situated
quite a couple of clubs on that.
Yes.
False Bay and Muizenberg and Fishhoek and Strandfontein and Mwabisi. And
so we're officially our clubhouse is located at Sunrise Beach in Muizenberg.
Right.
Obviously, there are a number of other clubs in the False Bay region. Most notably, probably Fishhoek, one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Strandfontein, Alpha, Strand on the other side. So there are a number of other clubs in the area.
Those are your big rivals.
Yeah.
You guys and Fishhoek.
Yes.
Every
Every
year we have to hear about the nonsense that goes on between False Bay and Fishhoek.
Yeah, I think it's a healthy rivalry. We kind of dominate different spectrums of the sport, whereas they're much more comfortable in the water and craft, and whereas we're much more of a beach dominated club. So it's a good balance. Yeah.
You guys are the sprinters.
Yes.
Yeah, right, doing flags and all that.
Yes, beach flags, beach sprints, that sort of thing.
Now, how do you choose which club you want to go to? Do you just go to the nearest club? Because I think a lot of people want to be lifesavers at Clifton, where it's all the glitz and glamour, and how do you choose where you go to?
So I think there's a number of different things to consider. Most of the time when you join as a nipper, which is more from the 8-year-olds to 14-year-olds, majority of the time you're going to choose the club that's closest to where you live.
Yeah.
That's just the easiest for the parents, essentially. As you get more involved with the sport, there's obviously the 2 sides to lifesaving. So there's working as a lifeguard and there's the competitive side of the sport.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the sport, sometimes there are just certain clubs that are more suited to particular styles. So we've had people who've joined us from other clubs over the years because they would like to focus on more specific beach training, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
At the same time, when it's regards to working opportunities, it's very different to what people think lifeguarding is. So you might think Clifton's this beautiful, idyllic beach, but that's not necessarily how it is when you work there on the day.
Yeah.
You can imagine that the numbers there are massive in peak summer.
You have your hands full.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not an easy job. So there's a number of different things.
Nicola, let's go to you. I think people think life-saving. I mean, as Taylor just said, no, life-saving. You get taught what to do, and then you start your shift.
Yes.
You start your shift at 9 o'clock and you finish at 10 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is follow the guidelines of the job. But you're a coach.
Yeah.
So you're obviously focusing on a whole different aspect of life saving.
Yes, no, absolutely. What we do is we'll do to life saving. You got the practical side of things, and you got the theory side of things. So the theory side would be your first aid, your CPR, water awareness, tides, how to spot currents, riptides, etc. And then you get your practical side, which would be where we teach them rescue scenarios. So they'll learn all their skills that they would need to do in case a rescue situation happens while they're on duty.
Yeah.
And you never ever stop learning. I mean, I'm sure, Tayla can also say, I mean, there's so many opportunities once you become a lifeguard. You can go on to do IRB, which is your inflatable rescue boat training, where you could be a driver, a crewman. You can do level 3.
So when you're coaching, I mean, are you coaching the CPR and I think
yes.
CPU is something that comes out of a computer. The IRB is something that comes out of the world of rugby. So we've got lots of sports here, including computers.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Are you coaching more the like I say, the health and safety side, or is it on the competitive side?
It's both. So, they get an instruction manual, so we take them right through the manual, and then we take them through the instruction side as well. I mean, a course will last it can last up to 10 to 12 weeks, and then they only do the examination once we are satisfied that they're 100% competent.
I keep wondering whether or not do you have to be a swimmer to be a lifesaver?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the first prerequisite of being a lifeguard.
Don't you think that's a bit rough? What about people who can't swim and they just want to be a lifeguard on the beach?
Well, that's your basic fitness test is something we call the run, swim, run, which is you've got to do a run it's a 200-meter run, a 300-meter swim in under 10 minutes, and that's in the surf zone in big waves. And we do that so that we know that the lifeguards are absolutely competent when they're on duty, and they are able to save someone's life if necessary.
So you have those minimum requirements.
Yes.
There's also the option of doing a QC, which is
QC? What is QC is a quality control?
Well, no, it stands for a qualified certification. So that would be a lifeguard that doesn't do any of the water stuff, but then is proficient in your CPR, your first aid.
Yeah.
So on a typical squad duty, you would have your surf lifeguards, and you'll have, which consist of your LA, which are lifeguards, and your JLAs, which are junior lifeguards.
Yeah.
And then you have QCs, and QCs will be in charge of first aid. They will also do comms on the day, and basically do general public, like crowd control and stuff like that.
Yeah. So Tayla, I mean, you're a provincial athlete. That takes you now away from the sort of the safety and the health and safety. This is where you're concentrating on the competitive side.
Yes.
What are the type of events that you'll take part in?
So that's the wonderful thing about the sport of lifesaving, is that there's so many different events that are a part of the sport. So some are more focused, particularly ocean events. So you've got your things like surf swim, or board, or surf ski, or a combination of all three, which is your Ironman, and then a few rescue simulation events as well. And then you've got some that are more specifically beach events. So that's your beach sprints, your beach run, which is normally a 2K run on the beach, or beach relay, and then beach flags, which is a slightly different one that's not really.
And so what's your speciality?
So for me, definitely beach flags. It would be my kind of primary individual event. But False Bay has a long history of excelling in beach relay specifically. So we've had some great results over the past few years. This past nationals, both our men's and women's team took gold in the beach relay. So I think that on the team side of things, it's definitely one of our favorites.
So you're currently a national title holder, South
so
African champion.
Yes.
Is it in the beach relays?
In the beach relay, yes. Yeah.
So how many people take part in the relays? A team of 4?
Team of 4, yes. So the one thing that's slightly different from most sort of running relays that you would see a 4x100 on the track, something like that, is instead of we run to a 90, it's 4x90, and we run a 90-meter stretch at each other. So instead of running with the person who you're giving the baton to, you run against them.
And do you then have to pass each other as you go?
Yes, so it's not like a little tag or anything. It's still a baton that you have to use, but you can imagine that it's not just the 4 fastest runners that are necessarily going to win, because there's so much on the line in terms of changeovers, and the same with track as well. But there's a lot more variability things that can go wrong.
Do the guys ever run straight into each other?
There's been a few mishaps. I think
head-on collisions.
I think you can see the teams that are somewhat more experienced that have run together, and the teams that are sometimes just thrown together on the day.
Yeah, they don't go. She has to go left or right. They're playing chicken with each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically luck of the draw how it goes. So you sometimes get some interesting results there, but I think that's what makes it so exciting at the same time.
Nicola, so from a competitive perspective, do you guys concentrate on the additional things that make sport competitive, things like nutrition, gym training, supplementary training, functional fitness, any of that?
Well, we just have an intensive, and I think this goes for all clubs. I mean, every club has its own unique intensive training program. Where some clubs are training up to 3 times a week. Typically here in the Western Cape, we've most of the clubs now have started about a month and a half ago. And it'll be swim training during the week. Some clubs train up to 5 times a day or do ski training.
All on the beach? Swimming on the beach?
No, a lot of swim training as well. A lot of the guys do individual swim. As Tayla said, depending on what their niche is, or what like Tayla will probably do a lot of running. Some of the guys are really good at their swimming events, so then they'll focus on that during the week.
So what's coming up next for you guys? Must be a couple of big events coming up, and we're heading into summer season now.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of we're basically just about to kick off. This weekend we're actually hosting a competition called King of the Beach. It's a 2-part series.
At Sunrise Beach?
Yeah, so the first leg will be at Sunrise Beach. The second leg will be on the 11th of November at Llandudno. It's actually open to the public as well, so we'd like to encourage anyone who has any interest in lifesaving to come and check it out. It's focused primarily on the beach events, as it kind of says in the title, and it's more just a fun learning competition. We're going to be doing a workshop prior to the competition itself to kind of get into the more nitty-gritty of how the events work, and small little things to work on that you can take back to your own training. And then, so that's sort of the first one to kick off the season. Then next week we have a pretty fan favorite of the competition calendar. It's the annual Atlantic versus the Bay. So
where's Atlantic now? Is that now another
Atlantic
club,
will be our side. So it'll be Milnerton, Big Bay.
All right, so it's all the clubs on the one side of the bay versus the clubs on the other side of the bay. Okay,
exactly.
So you've got to actually work together now.
We're going to be against each other. So so again, it's the start of the season for us is always just more kind of getting into the swing of things again, and normally our more official competitions will only start from January onwards. So the first few months is definitely just kind of getting the dust off and getting your legs fresh again.
So Nicola, just from for the folks that are out there who want to join a club, I mean, what do you do? Do you just go to Lifesaving?
Okay, well, the best thing to do is to contact Lifesaving Western Province. Website is lifesavingwp.co.za. To inquire about their 16 clubs in the Western Province. Otherwise, alternatively, you can contact your local lifesaving club and speak to them about when their next lifesaving intake is. Typically, we have courses that start in the beginning of summer to finish when your voluntary season starts, or end of January. Otherwise, if you go to a beach, you can go and there are lifesavers on duty, you can go and speak to them about joining Nippers or Lifesaving. Would be the best bet.
And you recommend this, Tayla?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great experience. It's one of the best ways to keep fit across different kind of disciplines. Because
it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no better way than spending Cape Town on the beach.
Yeah, every weekend.
Every weekend.
So parents can just drop the kids off and say, go lifesaving now, I'm going shopping.
Pretty much, yeah. My 2 kids do Nippers, and that's how they start off. And it's a good way, and the friendships that you form in lifesaving as well, and the skills and it's just unbelievable.
All right, so next event, the date, the time, the place?
So so we've got one coming up this Saturday. Starts at 12 at Muizenberg Beach, right by the Colourful Huts. Then next week, Saturday, we have the Atlantic versus the Bay at Llandudno.
So we've got the 14th of October, that's this Saturday, at Sunrise Beach. They've got the 21st of October at Llandudno
Yes.
also.
That's it.
Yes.
And then you got the next one coming up on the 4th of November, I think.
11th,
28th of
11th.
October, sorry.
Yeah.
11th of November.
11th
is
of
the-
November.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 big events. Llandudno, well, this Saturday, of course, it's at
Muizenberg, yeah.
Sunrise Beach, which is just opposite the Circle.
Yes.
That's it.
yes.
And then you got
Yeah.
Llandudno the following week, so there's a couple of events coming up.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Llandudno again on the 11th. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, and a lot of the clubs kind of, when we have these competitions, they open up their clubhouse. There's food, drinks, and everything. So even if you just want to come down and see what it's about, it's
Yeah.
a great way to spend your Saturday afternoon.
Absolutely.
All right. Listen, well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for
I
having
think
us.
it sounds very exciting, and obviously you guys are doing quite well for lifesaving in the Western Cape. We're quite proud of it.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you very much for
Yeah,
having
thank
us.
you for having
Yeah.
us.
Lekker. Right, folks, Sports Federation TV still coming up a little bit later in the show. We'll be speaking to the folks from netball, men's netball, darts, and athletics. All that comes up a little bit later. I'm standing in for Lynn Yukta tonight, and she'll be back next week to, of course, pick up the baton, so to speak. We're obviously doing our own form of relay racing here at the moment. You'll remember we had some great shows on last night. Incidentally, for those of you who've just tuned in, Bashoes has come on board with Cape, at least with Sports Federation TV. When I refer to Cape Rugby, you obviously know Cape Rugby TV, which is the Wednesday night show. Now it's Bashoes and Score Energy Drinks on board with them, and Bashoes on board with Sport Federation TV. And this cool drink has been around since 1889, one of South Africa's oldest drinks. You'll remember the old chokkies used to come around your house and drop off your Bashoes and then fetch your old glass bottles. Well, it's the Bashoes. The Bashoes brand is back, so to speak. I love these cool drinks. This one specific one is the orange flavor, and a lot of people told me that the ginger beer is probably the best ginger beer that they've ever had, and I'm going to have one of the ginger beers a little bit later. I'm also going to give you an opportunity to win yourself a case of Bashoes a little bit later during the course of the show. You just need to keep your cell phone handy. We'll take an ad break, and when we come back from the break, we'll be speaking to netball, darts, and athletics. Don't go away. Back in a sec.